So if it doesn't start raining too bad, the plan today was to try out this Amazon LS swap harness. What I got is for T56 or a manual gearbox, I guess, because all it has is the reverse lockout or the plug for the reverse sensor and one other plug. But that's what I got because I'm using a Turbo 350, non-electronic, so those I can figure out what to do with that later. Just put them aside. Anyways, I'm gonna flip it around, show you the harness. This is what we're looking at. It's a really nicely put together harness. I'm really surprised, really happy for the amount it was. It was about 300 bucks, free shipping. So this portion is the portion that goes inside the car. Comes with a fuse block. It's got the the injectors, the coil packs, the O2 sensors. All that stuff is fused because that stuff does draw a little bit of amperage. I've opted for the red and blue ECU plugs because I'm using a 411 ECU. Basically, on this end, all you got to worry about is the ground. Red wire is your ignition wire. That's it. So it's got this nice little grommet here so you can use in the firewall. So from this portion this way, this is basically your engine side. This is your passenger side, that's your driver's side, your injectors, coil packs, O2 sensors. It's divided nice and cleanly, left and right. And on this side, all I got to worry about is two constant 12 volts, and there is a big ground right here that I should probably just bolt up to a cylinder head, and that should take care of that. But I'm just gonna kind of hook it up real quick, see how it fits on this LS swapped Lexus IS300. I do plan on going twin turbo with this, so if you're interested in following this build, please like, subscribe, follow the channel, because this build is going to be insane when it's done. I'm so excited to get this thing on the road. But for now, let's try out this Amazon LS swap harness and see how well it fits. So something that I thought was really cool about this kit is it came with this little booklet, pretty detailed instructions and just useful information. It's got a laid out diagram, each individual plug and where it's located. Really detailed. Every sensor is labeled. It tells you where the powers, the grounds, where they go. It's got instructions, in case you're not sure, kind of how to route it, how to hook stuff up. It has a description on what color wires go to the sensors. Like it says, MAP sensor, for example, yellow, black, pink. I don't know. It's got a lot of information. Let's see. Yeah, how to wire up a TCC brake switch. Oh, this is a little layout of the little fuse block. So let's see here. It looks like the fuel injectors and coil packs on one bank are fused together. Injectors and coil packs on the other bank is fused together. Looks like this is for the O2 sensors. Reverse lockout, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, ignition fuse. We've got a relay. It does come with a dedicated relay for the fuel pump and an ignition relay. So this comes pre-wired to the ECU. To give you full control of the fuel pump from your LS1 ECU, but you do have to run a trigger wire, aka like an ignition source, to the relay, and then you have to go from the relay to the fuel pump. So it's pre-wired for the signal, I should say. The signal is already in there. Let me just show you right here. This is the fuel pump relay. The green wire is the signal. It's already wired up to the ECU. You just have to run. This one here is my ignition wire. Now I just have to run a wire from the fuel pump relay to the pump, but I haven't quite got there yet. All this I decided to shove off in my glove box because it wasn't in the engine bay, but I figured it's one less thing to have in the engine bay. Here's my 411 ECU, the two relays in the description. One's ignition, one is your fuel pump, and just like I just read off the instructions, here are all the fuses, your injectors, coils, ignition, all those fuses are right here. So in the interior portion, all you have to do, there was the one ground and ignition wire. My one ground is back there. My one ignition wire is right here. And I just tapped into it for the fuel pump ignition as well, because those both require an ignition source. And that's it, man. It's just ignition wire, ground. The interior portion is done at that point. And in the engine bay, it's basically just as simple. It's two constant 12 volts and one ground. As far as the harness, it only comes with like the bare minimum necessary plugs and stuff like that to keep your engine alive and running well. It doesn't come with any emissions, so everything you see here are like the bare minimum to run your LS1. It doesn't come with like EGR or air pump stuff or let's see, evap plugs, anything like that. It does not have it. Let me show you under the engine bay. Please excuse the mess. I have a lot of organizing to do, but this is the harness already installed. I had this gigantic mess of wires right here before. Crazy wires just stuffed in the corner, but this is the harness plugged in. It's very neat. This wouldn't normally be here, this purple wire. I have a lot of cleaning up to do, but it does run along the fuel rail. I can zip tie it to the rails. It's really clean, really simple looking. I like how it's loomed up. Real quick, I can kind of point off your important sensors and where they go, if that will help you any. So you've got your engine coolant temp sensor right here in the head. You've got your IAC, idle air control, throttle position, your plug for your coil packs, driver side, obviously your individual injector plugs. You've got your camshaft position is behind the intake manifold. Map sensor is physically on the manifold behind it as well. Let's see, that's it for the driver's side. There is a plug for the mass air on this particular one. This is for a Gen 3. There's mass air and individual intake air temp sensor. I will not be using mass air. I'm going speed density, but I will find a way to run the intake air temp. So on your passenger side, your important sensors here are going to be obviously the same. Your individual injector plugs. You've got your coil pack connector, passenger side. You've got your crankshaft position sensor is actually located between, it's behind the starter. It goes in the block and it's behind the starter. It could be a little bit tricky to get to. Let's see here. So these are the two power wires. I have them going straight to the fuse box right here. And the ground I actually put to the back of the driver's side head, right back here. Let's see. Oh, you've got your knock sensors. Can't forget that. It's over there. I'm sorry, over there. The knock sensor plug is behind the intake manifold. I need to be more specific. There's two, one in the front, one in the back under the manifold, and there's a little harness that comes back and you click into it. It's located behind the manifold. And that's pretty much it. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't think I am, because it's really simple and easy to just slap this harness on here and get this thing running. I kind of just hacked up a hole in the firewall and fed everything through here. I need to clean it up and make that look a little neater. Yeah, anyways, I'm really happy with this harness. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention is it comes with a lot of wires to feed, like signal wires. I just have them stuffed off in here. You see all these wires? So that's going to be like your vehicle speed sensor, tachometer, fan control, stuff like that. It lists everything those wires bundled up can do in here. It's just a bunch of like signal wires to trigger different things. I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I don't know specifically what they're for, but everything's in here in this packet. Like I mentioned before, this harness is on Amazon. This one was $290. It is freaking awesome. I definitely recommend it if you're doing an LS swap in anything. This one here is a Gen 3 harness. It came with EV1 spark plug connectors. It'd be better if you know what style injectors you have. That way you can click on your plugs directly. If not, you're going to have to cut off the injector plugs and wire up your own pigtails. So it would help a lot to know off the bat which injectors you have. That way you can click it in off the bat. Make sure you get the one for the Gen 3, Gen 4, because sensors are located in different spots. You got to know if you're running 4060, T56, 4080, because the harnesses will be a little bit different. This one I opted for the T56 or yeah, the T56 version, because I'm using a Turbo 350. It's a non-electronic transmission, so the T56 version is perfectly fine for my application. So yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead after all that talking. I'm going to fire up the car, but so before I fire it up, I'm going to go ahead and hook up HV tuners and start a data log, make sure my sensors are reading ECT, TAC. Let's see, what else is there? Throttle position, basically any sensors that comes up. I'm going to see if I can get them to register in here, because obviously I don't have the harness communicating with the cluster or anything like that. I just have all the wires bundled up here. I think I forgot to mention, it does come with an OBD port. The harness has an integrated OBD port already built in. How sweet and convenient is that? It's located real close to the fuse block and the relays. It's all in this interior portion of the harness. Well, I cannot do this with one hand. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go power up the car. That involves me activating the breaker. Let's see here. I'm gonna see if we can get a log going. Communication. And I do have successful communication through the OBD ports to the ECU. Let's see if this sucker will fire up. Just kind of make sure all the sensors are plugged in. I'm pretty confident everything's fine. Like I said, it's pretty simple, man. There's not much to it. Yeah, we're good. Engine coolant temp 158. I know that's hooked up right. Throttle position. That looks like it's good. That should be like a 0 to 5 volt reference. Let's see here. I need to kind of go through and mess with this control module. I'm looking at 14 volts, so that's good. I know my alternator's working. Map sensor working. Yeah, so first try, I guess I got everything plugged up right, which isn't hard to do because it's a simple harness. It's really easy to hook up. It's self-explanatory. This is a must-have. If you're doing an LS swap in anything, you've got to get this harness. It's by far the best bang for the buck on your LS swap. It'll make your life a lot easier. All right, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Really happy with this harness. Before, let me show you what I was working with, man. It was a freaking nightmare. This is what I had before. This was my wire harness before I bought this Amazon one. Holy shit, that was frustrating. I did waste a lot of time messing with this. I should have got this harness from the get-go, but whatever. Better late than never, I guess. Yeah, that's it for this one. If you liked it, like the video, subscribe. The link to this harness will be in the description. Please use that link. Get this harness. It helps me out if you want to support this channel. Anyway, see you in the next video. Later.